Hi friends, today we'll discuss about the relations of liver. As we all discuss surfaces, borders and ligaments, today we'll see the relations. These relations are peritoneal relations and visceral relations. Peritoneal in liver, if we see the peritoneal relations, some of the areas which are not covered by the peritoneum, those are called the bare areas. On the posterior surface, on the right lobe of the liver, there is a triangular bare area which is enclosed by superior and inferior layer of coronary ligaments. Both those two join together to form a right triangular ligament. See here, at this point, this is the posterior surface of the top of the right lobe of the liver. Here we will see one bare area. That is one of the peritoneal relation, and another one is groove of inferior vena cava. In this groove, we will see the lodgement of inferior vena cava, and another one is the ligamentum venosum, and another one is the fossa of gallbladder. In that fossa, there is a lodgement of this gallbladder. So these are the peritoneal relations. And if we see the visceral relations, anterior surface which was triangular in shape, at the middle we will see the convex part which is directly related to the xiphisternum and anterior abdominal wall, whereas on either side of the xiphisternum, it is related to the diaphragm. It is related to the diaphragm, and this area this diaphragm separates the anterior surface from pleura of the lung and pleura and lung. If we see some landmarks, if you draw an imaginary line from the xiphisternal joint to the mid-axillary line along the 10th rib, at that point, this diaphragm will separate the anterior surface from pleura of the lung. Whereas at the same point again, from the xiphisternal joint to the mid-axillary line, along the line passing along the 8th rib, there we can see there is a separation of lung. This diaphragm will separate the anterior surface from the lung. So these are the landmarks. This is about the anterior surface relations. If we see the posterior surface, look here, this is the posterior surface. This posterior surface, it is a triangular in shape. At middle, we'll see there is a lodgement. Look here, there is a lodgement for the vertebral column. On right of this vertebral column, we'll see the groove for inferior vena cava. At the lower end of this inferior vena cava, on the posterior surface, we'll see the right suprarenal gland. And onto the right of this inferior vena cava, here at this point, we'll see the triangular bare area. And beside this, look here, this is the caudate lobe here. This is the caudate lobe. At this point only, we'll see the lodgement for vertebral column. This is the caudate lobe. This caudate lobe makes a relation with celiac trunk, right phrenic artery, inferior phrenic artery, celiac trunk and crus of the diaphragm. So it maintains a relation with those parts. And then on the left lobe of the liver, at the posterior surface, we'll see the esophageal impression. This orange colored part is the esophageal impression. This is about the posterior surface relations. Again, we'll go through. This is on the posterior surface, mainly we'll see the triangular bare area, groove for inferior vena cava and lodgement of vertebral column, and this is the caudate lobe. This caudate lobe with celiac trunk, right inferior phrenic artery and crus of the diaphragm and part of the ligamentum venosum, and on the left lobe of the liver on the posterior surface we'll see the esophageal impression. So this is about the posterior surface. And if you see on the superior surface, the superior surface at its middle there is a concave depression. Mainly it maintains a relation with the pericardial area. Pericardial area on either side it is convex, which was covered by the diaphragm. So that is about the superior surface, and this is the posterior surface, and here this is the anterior surface. This right lateral surface is a quadrilateral in shape. Here This diaphragm will separate the right lateral surface from pleura and lung. At the level of the 10th rib, this diaphragm will separate the pleura of the lung to the right lateral surface. Whereas at the level of 8th rib, this diaphragm separates the right lateral surface from the lung. Look here, this is the right lateral surface. Right lateral surface is a quadrilateral in shape, and then this right lateral surface, it is related to 7th to 11th ribs, 7 to 11 ribs, and then this it is covered by the diaphragm. At the level of the 10th rib, this diaphragm will separate the right lateral surface from the pleura of lung. At the level of 8th rib, this diaphragm, at the level of 8th rib in the mid-axillary line, this diaphragm separates the right lateral surface to the lung. That is 10th rib at the level of pleura, whereas the 8th rib at the level of lung. By knowing this, the level of ribs and the right lateral surface, it will be mainly used during the biopsy procedures. That is about the right lateral surface. Now we will see the inferior surface. This inferior surface is directed downwards, backwards and to the left. In the inferior surface, on the left lobe of the inferior surface, we will see the gastric impression. And here this is the quadrate lobe. At the quadrate lobe region, we will see the pyloric part and first part of the duodenum with lesser omentum. And then look here, this is the tuber omental. This is the tuber omental. At the lower part of the ligamentum venosum, an elevated tubal elevation we will see, that is known as the tuber omental. Here it maintains a relationship with the lesser omentum. So on the inferior surface, on the left lobe of the liver, we will see the gastric impression, and we will see the tuber omental maintains with the lesser omentum, and this is the quadrate lobe having a impression with pyloric part and first part of the duodenum along with lesser omentum. And then this is the fossa of gallbladder having the gallbladder with cystic duct. This is the first part of the duodenum, and this is the on the right lobe of the inferior surface, we will see the hepatic flexure of colon along with the right suprarenal kidney. Right kidney. Hepatic flexure of colon with right kidney. So these are the relations of anterior, posterior, superior and right lateral. Look here, this is the blood supply of the liver. This 80% of the blood supply is done by the portal vein, whereas 20% by the hepatic artery. These two will divide outside before entering into the liver. After entering into the liver, they divide into segmental branches and then lobar branches and then interlobular branches. These are the interlobular branches. This is the interlobular branch of hepatic artery, interlobular branch of portal vein. Okay, so they will come to up to this level. So before you have, I want to give a small idea about this histology of the liver. These are the functional lobules or hexagonal lobules with central vein in its middle, and this one is the sinusoid, which is going from periphery to the center. These are the sinusoids. Okay, these are the sinusoids. And beside the sinusoids, we'll see a plate of arrangement of lamina. Look here. See, I just drawn with pink color as a sinusoids. So look here, this is the sinusoid, and this is a plate of arrangement of hepatocytes. So the space between the sinusoid and the line of arrangement of hepatocytes is known as the space of Dicey. See, this is the space of Dicey. This sinusoid is made up of an endothelial cells with the pores in between, small gaps in between the endothelial cells. This is the sinusoid. In this sinusoid, we will see the mixed blood portal vein and hepatic artery. So from this sinusoid, this will enter into the central vein. The central vein again it divides into the segmental veins, interlobular veins, and then interlobular veins will drains as a hepatic veins into the inferior vena cava. So this is the functional lobule with the central vein. At its corners, we'll see the portal triad. Triad means three structures: hepatic artery, portal vein, along with the bile duct. Okay, there will be the bile duct. So this is the sinusoid, and these are the hepatocytes. The gap between these two is known as the space of Dicey. So the space beside the line of hepatocytes is known as the bile canaliculi. At that place, we'll see the secretion of the bile from these hepatocytes. In that space, there will be the flow of bile. From here, it will goes to the corners and drains into the bile ducts. This right and left hepatic ducts join together to form a common hepatic duct, and then it joins with the cystic duct to form the common bile duct. Okay, so this is about the story, a small idea of histology. After this, blood supply, we see the nerve supply is mainly done by the hepatic plexus of nerves by sympathetic, and parasympathetic is mainly by the vagus. Whereas the lymphatic is done by the celiac group of lymph nodes, paracardial and hepatic group of lymph nodes. After this, if we see a small idea of clinical anatomy, I will give a small idea of clinical anatomy. Hepatitis is nothing but an inflammation of liver. It is mainly seen in the cases of viral infections or any bacterial infections. After that, there will be the cirrhosis of liver. In that condition, in case of any malnutrition or any person having a drinking habits, there will be the fibrosis. There is a shrinkage of the liver. The liver will undergo some fibrosis. Total tissue is damaged there. So that condition is known as the cirrhosis of liver. And another clinical aspect is Morrison's pouch. I have given a small idea about in previous video. Morrison's pouch is nothing but hepatorenal pouch. It is a space which is located between on the visceral surface. We'll see the right kidney relation. Between the right kidney and the liver, we'll see a peritoneal reflection, nothing but a space. That space is known as a Morrison's pouch. During any surgeries, like any gallbladder surgeries or like that, there will be the accumulation of blood or pus. In that stages, the doctors will insert a drainage tube there to collect all that pus and blood. Another clinical aspect is biopsy. This biopsy is majorly done at the level of 9th and 10th intercostal spaces to avoid the injury to pleura and lung. At 9th intercostal space, biopsy should be done. Another clinical condition is metastasis. Metastasis of carcinoma can be easily spread through the portal vein through the liver. These are some of the clinical conditions. Thank you.